The cabin shouldn't be standing. That's the first thought that cuts through the fog of exhaustion as she drags another rotted plank across the muddy clearing. The structure leans like a drunk against the mountain wind, half its roof caved in, windows shattered into jagged teeth. But it's hers. The only thing in this godforsaken world that belongs to no one but her. Rain hammers down in sheets so thick the forest becomes a wall of gray. Water streams down her face, mixing with something that might be tears or might just be the sky crying for her. She doesn't bother wiping it away. Her hands are already bleeding, wrapped in strips torn from the only blanket she carried up here 3 weeks ago. The fabric is black with grime now, soaked through, useless. But she keeps moving. Her wolf stirs beneath her skin, restless and angry. It wants to break free, to run until her lungs scream and her paws are raw. But she won't let it. Can't let it. Because the moment she shifts, the moment she lets that wild part of herself breathe, someone might sense her. Someone might find her. And she'd rather die than be found. The plank splinters as she hefts it against the door frame, trying to wedge it into place. Her shoulders burn with the effort. Her whole body is a map of pain, bruises layered on bruises, some fresh, some faded to that sickly yellow-green that means they're finally healing. There's a cut across her ribs that still weeps when she moves too quickly. She's been stitching it closed herself, thread and needle by firelight, biting down on leather to keep from screaming. No one knows she's here. That's the point. That's the whole damn point. The mountains swallow sound. They swallow light. They swallow broken she-wolves who have nowhere else to go. Thunder cracks overhead, so loud it shakes the trees. She flinches, instinct making her drop low, hands going to cover her head before she catches herself. Stop. He's not here. He can't reach you anymore. But her body doesn't believe it. Her body remembers the weight of his fists, the crack of his voice, the way he'd smile right before he... No. She forces herself upright, jaw clenched so tight her teeth ache. Focuses on the cabin. On the work. On the solid, simple reality of wood and nails, and the promise that if she can just make this place whole, maybe she can make herself whole too. The door hangs crooked on one hinge. She's been hauling stones from the creek bed to rebuild the crumbling chimney. The floorboards are soft with rot in places, treacherous, but she's learned which ones to avoid. There's a corner in the back room where the roof still holds, where she's made a nest of pine boughs and the tattered remains of her blanket. It smells like wet earth and decay, but it's safe. It's quiet. It's hers. She's hammering the plank into place when the feeling hits her. It starts as a prickle at the base of her skull, like fingernails dragging across her awareness. Her wolf goes rigid, hackles rising in a silent snarl. She freezes mid-swing, hammer suspended in the air, every sense suddenly razor-sharp. Someone's watching. The forest presses in around her, alive and waiting. Rain hisses through the canopy. Somewhere in the distance, a branch snaps. Her heart kicks into a sprint. She sets the hammer down slowly, carefully, and backs toward the cabin door. Her eyes scan the tree line, searching for movement, for the telltale gleam of eyes in the darkness. But there's nothing. Just shadows and rain and the endless whisper of leaves. Maybe she imagined it. Maybe isolation is finally driving her mad. Wouldn't that be perfect? Survive hell only to lose her mind in the mountains, talking to ghosts and jumping at wind. But her wolf knows better. Her wolf is growling, low and constant, a vibration in her chest that says danger, run, hide. She slips inside the cabin and shoves the door closed, bracing it with her shoulder while her hands fumble for the makeshift bolt, a piece of iron bar she scavenged from the ruins of an old shed. It slides home with a clang that sounds too loud, too final. For a long moment, she just stands there, back pressed to the door, breathing hard. Water drips from her hair, pools at her feet. The cabin is dark except for the faint glow of embers in the fireplace. She should add wood. Should get warm. Should do 100 things to keep herself alive and functional. But all she can do is listen. The rain continues its relentless strumming. Wind moans through gaps in the walls. And underneath it all, that feeling. That certainty that something has shifted, that the fragile piece she's been building here is already fracturing. She pushes away from the door and moves to the fireplace, feeding it twigs and strips of bark until flames lick up, casting dancing shadows across the walls. Her hands shake. She tells herself it's just the cold, just exhaustion, just the never-ending weight of being alone. But it's more than that. Because she can feel it now, clear as a bell ringing in her bones. Something is coming. Something big and inevitable, like a storm rolling over the mountains, too powerful to outrun. And the worst part? The absolutely crushing, soul-destroying worst part? There's a tiny, traitorous piece of her that almost wants to open the door and face it. Almost. She wraps her arms around herself, staring into the flames. Her wedding ring is long gone, hurled into a river the second day of her escape. But she can still feel its phantom weight, can still remember the way it felt like a shackle. Marriage. What a joke. What a beautiful, poisonous lie. She'd been so young when she met him. So desperate to believe that someone could love her despite everything she was. Despite the strangeness in her blood, the way her wolf felt different from the others, too bright, too wild. Her old pack had looked at her like she was a bomb waiting to go off. And maybe she was. Maybe she still is. He'd promised her safety, belonging, a place to rest. Instead, he'd spent 3 years systematically destroying every piece of her that dared to shine. The fire pops, sending up a spray of sparks. She watches them die in the darkness and thinks about all the versions of herself she's lost. The girl who laughed easily. The woman who believed in forever. The wolf who ran without fear. All of them gone. Ground down to nothing under the weight of his rage and her own shame. But here, in this broken cabin on this forgotten mountain, she's trying to build something new. Something that doesn't need permission to exist. It's slow work, painful work, the kind that makes you question whether survival is worth the effort. And then nights like this happen. Nights when she feels the eyes in the dark and remembers that safety is an illusion, that peace is temporary, that the world will always find a way to hunt her down. She's so tired of running. So tired of being afraid. So tired of being tired. The wind picks up, howling through the broken windows. The cabin groans, timbers creaking like old bones. She curls up by the fire, knees pulled to her chest, and lets herself feel small. Just for a moment. Just for tonight. Tomorrow, she'll go back to rebuilding. Tomorrow, she'll pretend she's strong enough to face whatever's coming. But tonight, she's just a woman in a broken house, watching shadows dance across walls and wondering if this isolation, this silence, this endless battle to convince herself she's worth saving, is what freedom actually looks like. Or if she's just traded one cage for another. The fire burns low. The rain doesn't stop. And somewhere out there, beyond the trees, beyond the darkness, something is moving through the storm. Moving toward her. She doesn't know it yet. Doesn't know that in a matter of hours, everything she's built here, this fragile, desperate attempt at peace, will shatter like glass under a hammer. Doesn't know that the knock on her door will change everything. But her wolf knows. Her wolf has been waiting. The next morning dawns gray and miserable, the kind of light that makes everything look washed out and dead. She wakes stiff and aching, curled on her side by the cold remains of the fire. For a moment, she can't remember where she is. Then reality crashes back, the cabin, the mountains, the reason she's here. Always that reason, following her like a shadow she can't shake. She forces herself up, every muscle screaming protest. There's work to do. There's always work to do. The roof won't fix itself. The chimney won't rebuild itself. And sitting here drowning in memories won't change anything. Outside, the storm has passed, leaving the world dripping and sullen. Mist clings to the trees like cobwebs. The air tastes clean, sharp, almost painful in her lungs. She breathes it in deep, lets it scour away the staleness of sleep and fear. The woods are quiet. Too quiet. That feeling from last night returns, stronger now. A pressure behind her eyes, a hum in her veins. Her wolf paces beneath her skin, agitated in a way that sets her teeth on edge. She scans the clearing, looking for tracks, for signs of disturbance. But there's nothing obvious. Just mud and fallen branches and the endless repetition of trees. Maybe she really is losing it. She's halfway through reinforcing the door frame when she hears it. A howl. Not close, but not far enough either. It rolls through the valley, echoing off stone and water, a sound that makes every hair on her body stand up. It's not the howl of a normal wolf. It's deeper, richer, layered with something that tastes like power and old magic. Alpha. The word slams into her consciousness with the force of a physical blow. That's an alpha's howl. And not just any alpha. Someone strong, someone ancient, someone who commands the kind of respect that makes lesser wolves bare their throats without question. Her first instinct is to run. Pack a bag, leave the cabin, disappear deeper into the mountains where not even an alpha can follow. But something stops her. Maybe it's exhaustion. Maybe it's stubbornness. Maybe it's the fact that she's so damn tired of running that the idea of standing still, even if it means facing whatever's coming, feels almost like relief. She goes back inside, bolts the door, checks her meager supplies, a hunting knife, a handmade spear, 3 days' worth of dried meat and foraged roots. Not much. Not enough. But it's what she has. The day drags by in agonizing slowness. She works, because working keeps her hands busy and her mind focused. She replaces rotted floorboards. She patches holes in the walls with mud and moss. She pretends she's not listening for footsteps, for the crack of twigs, for the low rumble of a growl. By the time dusk begins to fall, her nerves are frayed to nothing. She's inside, trying to coax another fire to life, when the knock comes. 3 strikes. Deliberate. Measured. So loud they might as well be thunder. Her entire body goes rigid. The knife is in her hand before she consciously decides to reach for it. Her wolf surges up, desperate to shift, to fight, to defend. But she holds it back. Barely. The knock comes again. Patient. Insistent. And then a voice, rough as gravel, deep as the earth itself. I know you're in there. It's not a threat. It's a statement. Calm. Certain. Her hand tightens on the knife. She doesn't answer. I'm not here to hurt you. A pause. I'm hurt. I need help. Hurt. Right. Like she's stupid enough to fall for that. Like she hasn't heard every lie a man can tell. Go away. Her voice comes out stronger than she feels. Good. Silence. Then quieter, almost gentle. Please. That single word does something to her. Cracks something open that she thought was sealed shut forever. Because alphas don't say please. Alphas don't ask. They demand. They take. They break. But this one said please. Against every instinct screaming at her to stay hidden, to stay safe, she moves to the door. Keeps the knife ready. Presses her ear to the wood and listens. Heavy breathing. A heartbeat, slower than it should be. The wet sound of blood dripping. If you're lying, she says, if this is a trick, I'll gut you where you stand. Understood. A dry rasp that might be a laugh. Can you open the door now? I'm a thud, like a body hitting wood. Running out of time. She hesitates. Every rational part of her screams that this is a mistake, that she's inviting death across her threshold, that she'll regret this for however long she is left to regret anything. But there's another part. A part that remembers what it felt like to bleed alone, to beg for help and receive none. She slides the bolt free, opens the door, and comes face to face with the Alpha King. He's massive. That's the first coherent thought that breaks through the white noise of panic flooding her system. Massive in a way that defies logic, that makes the doorway look like a child's toy. Even hunched over, one hand pressed to his side where blood seeps black between his fingers, he towers over her. And he's half-shifted. The realization hits her like a punch to the gut. His face is caught between man and wolf, jaw elongated, teeth too sharp, eyes blazing with an amber light that seems to pulse with its own heartbeat. Fur ripples along his neck and disappears beneath the shredded remains of a shirt that might have been white once, but is now mostly crimson. His breathing comes in harsh, labored gasps that fog in the cold air. But it's his eyes that freeze her in place. They lock onto hers with an intensity that makes the world narrow to just this moment, just this threshold, just the two of them suspended in the dying light. There's pain in those eyes, yes, but there's something else too. Something that looks almost like recognition. Like relief. Like he's been searching for her his entire life. You. The word scrapes out of him, rough and wondering. It's you. She takes a step back, knife raised. Her wolf is going insane, torn between submission and aggression, between the instinct to bare her throat to an alpha and the desperate need to protect what little she's reclaimed. I don't know you. No, he sways, catches himself against the door frame. His claws, because they are claws now, fully extended and wickedly curved, dig into the wood, leaving gouges. But I know you. Your scent. I'd know it anywhere. Ice slides down her spine. That's not possible, isn't it? He tries to smile, but with his face caught mid-shift, it comes out as more of a grimace. Blood drips from his side, pattering onto her threshold in a rhythm that matches her racing heart. I've been dreaming about you for months. Your scent. Pine and lightning and something wild I couldn't name. Thought I was losing my mind. This is bad. This is so much worse than she imagined. Because if he's been tracking her scent, if he's been searching, then he's not just some random alpha passing through. He came here deliberately. For her. You need to leave. Her voice shakes despite her best efforts. Now. Can't. He shifts his weight, and the movement causes whatever injury he's hiding to tear open further. Fresh blood gushes over his hand. He makes a sound that's half grunt, half growl, and his knees buckle. She catches him before she can think better of it. The moment her hands make contact with his shoulders, everything changes. Heat explodes through her palms, racing up her arms, flooding her entire body with a sensation that's part electricity, part recognition, part something so fundamentally right it terrifies her. Her wolf surges forward with a force she hasn't felt in years, howling with joy, with need, with a certainty that makes her want to vomit. Mate. No. Absolutely not. No. She shoves him away, hard, and he stumbles back across the threshold, barely keeping his feet. They stare at each other, both breathing hard, both obviously feeling whatever the hell that was. You felt it too. Not a question. A statement of fact, delivered with a satisfaction that cuts through his pain. I don't know what you're talking about. The lie tastes like ash. Yes, you do. He presses harder against his side, trying to stem the blood flow. I'm Kieran. Alpha King of the Northern Territories. And you're my... Don't. The word cracks out like a whip. Don't you dare say it. He stops, studies her with those impossible eyes, and she watches understanding dawn across his brutal features. You're running from a mate bond. I'm running from a marriage. There's a difference. Is there? Something that might be sympathy flickers in his gaze. May I come in? I promise you, I'm not a threat. Not to you. Never to you. She should say no. Should slam the door in his face and pray he's too weak to break it down. Should grab her knife and use it, should shift and run, should do literally anything except what she's about to do. But he's bleeding out on her doorstep. And despite everything, despite the alarm bells ringing in her head, despite the voice screaming that this is a trap, despite the bone-deep certainty that letting him in will destroy the fragile peace she's built, she can't just let him die. Maybe that makes her weak. Maybe it makes her stupid. Or maybe it just makes her human. She steps aside. He limps past her, bringing with him the scent of blood and pine and something else, something that makes her wolf whine with longing. Power. Old magic. The kind of presence that makes the air itself seem heavier, charged with potential. The cabin has never felt smaller. He makes it 3 steps before his legs give out completely. She catches him again. Why does she keep catching him? And this time the contact doesn't shock her. Or maybe she's just more prepared for it. Either way, she manages to guide his fall so he lands on the pile of pine boughs that serves as her bed rather than crashing face first into the floorboards. He's too heavy, too big, too everything. He fills the space like a storm contained in skin, and she has the sudden, visceral understanding that her life just split into before and after this moment. Where are you hurt? She keeps her voice clinical, detached. This is just first aid. Just basic decency. Nothing more. Everywhere. A weak laugh. But mostly here. He pulls his hand away from his side, and she sees the damage. 3 parallel gashes, deep enough that she can see bone beneath the shredded muscle. The wounds are ragged, torn rather than cut, and the edges are already blackening. Poisoned. Whatever did this used claws or teeth coated in something designed to keep shifters from healing. What attacked you? Shadow beasts. He closes his eyes, jaw clenched against the pain. 3 of them. Should have seen them coming, but I was distracted. By what? His eyes open, fix on her with uncomfortable intensity. By you. By your scent on the wind. I've been tracking it for weeks, and when I finally got close, he trails off, shakes his head. They ambushed me. Probably been watching me for days, waiting for me to lower my guard. Shadow beasts. She's heard stories about them, whispered around fires late at night. Creatures born from dark magic and rage, sent to hunt specific targets. Which means someone sent them. Someone wants this alpha dead. And now he's bleeding out in her cabin. Perfect. Just perfect. She moves to her meager supplies, pulls out the medical kit she's been carefully hoarding. It's not much, some cloth for bandages, a needle and thread, a half-empty bottle of something that might be antiseptic or might just be grain alcohol. She's used most of it on herself over the past 3 weeks. This is going to hurt, she warns him. Can't hurt worse than it already does. He's wrong about that. The moment she pours the alcohol into the wounds, his entire body goes rigid. A sound rips from his throat that's pure animal, echoing off the walls, making the windows rattle. His claws dig into the floor, leaving furrows in the wood. But he doesn't pull away, doesn't lash out, just endures. She works quickly, cleaning the wounds as best she can. The poison is spreading, dark veins creeping out from the gashes like roots. She's seen this before, back when her old pack dealt with a shadow beast attack. Most of the injured wolves died. The ones who survived were never quite the same. You need a healer, she says flatly. A real one. I don't have the knowledge or supplies to deal with poison this advanced. Nearest healer is 3 days south. His voice is strained, each word clearly costing him. I won't make it 3 hours. Then what do you expect me to do? You could try healing me. She goes very still. What? You heard me. He opens his eyes again, and the amber light in them seems brighter now, feverish. You have power. I can feel it. Something old. Something that could burn this poison right out of my system. I don't know what you're talking about. Liar. No heat in the word, just certainty. You're radiating power like a beacon. Have been since the moment I got close. It's why I could track you. Why I've been dreaming of you. You're not just any she-wolf. Her hands shake as she threads the needle. You don't know anything about me. I know you're scared. I know you're running. I know someone hurt you badly enough that you'd rather die alone on a mountain than risk trusting anyone again. His gaze softens. And I know that underneath all that fear, you're burning up with power you've been taught to suppress. Power that could save my life. If you'd just let it. I can't. The words come out barely audible. Can't or won't. Both. She starts stitching, each pull of thread through flesh mechanical, distant. Even if I had power, which I don't, I wouldn't know how to use it. I've spent my whole life making myself smaller. Making myself safe. Making myself acceptable. And how's that working out for you? The question hits like a slap. She yanks the thread tighter than necessary, and he grunts, but doesn't complain. You don't get to judge me, she says quietly. You don't know what I've survived. You're right. I don't. He's quiet for a moment, breathing through the pain as she continues stitching. Then, softer, but I'd like to. If you'd let me. Why? She ties off the last stitch, moves to the second gash. Why do you care? You don't know me. We've never met. For all you know, I'm exactly what my old pack said I was: dangerous, unstable, better off dead. What's your name? The question catches her off guard. She hesitates, needle poised above his skin. I told you mine, he prompts gently. Fair is fair. She shouldn't tell him. Giving him her name feels like giving him power, like handing over a piece of herself she can't afford to lose. But something about the way he's looking at her, the way he's lying vulnerable and bleeding under her hands, breaks down her resistance. Marin, she whispers. Marin. He says it like a prayer, like a promise. That's beautiful. Suits you. You can't even see me properly in this light. Don't need to. I can feel you. Every atom of you. His hand lifts, trembling with effort, and for a heart-stopping moment, she thinks he's going to touch her. But he just lets it fall back to his side. You're terrified right now. I can taste it. But you're still here. Still helping me. Why? Because I'm an idiot. Or because you're kind. Despite everything that's been done to you, despite every reason you have to let me bleed out and be done with it, you chose mercy. His eyes drift closed again. That's not weakness, Marin. That's strength. She doesn't answer. Can't. Because there's a lump in her throat the size of a fist and her eyes are burning, and she will not cry in front of this stranger, this alpha king who somehow sees too much and says all the wrong right things. She finishes the stitches in silence. 3 wounds, 37 stitches total. Not her best work, but it'll hold if the poison doesn't kill him first. The dark veins have spread further, creeping up his ribs, snaking across his chest. She can see his heart beating beneath his skin, too fast, too irregular. He's dying. The knowledge settles over her like a shroud. There has to be something, she mutters, more to herself than to him. Some herb, some remedy. There is. His voice is weaker now, fading. You. I told you. Your power. He forces his eyes open one more time. I can feel it, Marin. Right beneath your skin. Like a banked fire waiting for fuel. You could burn this poison out. I know you could. And what if I can't control it? What if I burn you instead? A ghost of a smile. Then at least I'll die warm. That's not funny. Wasn't meant to be. His breathing is getting shallower, each inhale a struggle. Please. I'm not ready to die. Not when I finally found you. Found you. Like she was lost. Like she was something precious he'd been searching for across impossible distances. Like she mattered. Her wolf is howling now, clawing at her from the inside, begging to be released. Begging to save him. Because mate or not, bonded or not, whatever the hell this connection between them is, Her wolf has decided he's worth saving. And maybe, just maybe, she is too. I don't know how, she admits, hating how small her voice sounds. Yes, you do. His hand finds hers, wraps around it with surprising strength for someone half dead. His skin burns against hers. It's instinct. Trust yourself. Trust. What a concept. What a beautiful, impossible concept. But his eyes are closing again. His grip is loosening. And she can see death hovering at the edges of him, patient and inevitable. She's out of options. She's out of time. She closes her eyes, takes a breath, and reaches for the thing she's spent her whole life trying to bury. The power rises like a tidal wave, swift and merciless. It crashes through her in a flood of heat and light, searing along her veins, burning away every wall she's built to contain it. Her wolf surges forward, merging with it, amplifying it, until she can't tell where she ends and the power begins. Her hands begin to glow. Not metaphorically. Actually glow, silver-white light spilling from her palms like water, like starlight, like something ancient and holy. Kieran's eyes snap open. By the gods, he breathes. She presses her glowing hands to his wounds. The poison reacts immediately, writhing away from the light like living things. She can feel it fighting, can feel the dark magic trying to burrow deeper, trying to find somewhere to hide. But her power hunts it down, relentless and pure, burning it out cell by cell. Kieran arches off the ground with a roar that shakes the cabin. His hand clamps down on her wrist hard enough to bruise, his whole body convulsing. But she doesn't stop. Can't stop. Because now that the power is flowing, it has its own momentum, its own purpose. It wants to heal him. It wants to save him. And buried underneath all her fear, all her resistance, all her certainty that this is a mistake, so does she. The light intensifies, flooding the cabin, turning everything silver white. The poison actually screams as it burns away. The wounds begin to close, flesh knitting back together with impossible speed. The blackened veins retreat, fade, disappear. And then, just as suddenly as it started, it stops. The light winks out. The power recedes. Maren collapses forward, gasping, every ounce of energy drained from her body. She would have hit the floor if Kieran hadn't caught her. His arms come around her, solid and sure, pulling her against his chest. She can hear his heart beating, strong and steady now. Can feel his breath warm against her hair. You did it, he murmurs, voice full of wonder. You actually did it. She wants to pull away. Wants to put distance between them, re-establish boundaries, pretend this never happened. But she's so tired. And he's so warm. And for just this moment, just this breath, it feels safe to lean on someone. Even if she knows it won't last. Even if she knows this is just another kind of trap. What are you? She whispers against his chest. She feels him smile. Wrong question, Maren. What's the right question? What are you? She doesn't answer him. Can't answer him, because the question opens doors she's spent years nailing shut. Doors that lead to memories soaked in shame and blood, and the kind of pain that reshapes you at a molecular level. Instead, she pulls away from him, from the heat of his body, from the steadiness of his arms, from the dangerous comfort of being held. Her legs barely support her weight. The power drain hit harder than she expected, leaving her hollowed out, trembling. She stumbles to the far side of the cabin, puts the cold fireplace between them like a barrier. Like distance will protect her from what just happened. Kieran sits up slowly, testing his newly healed body. His shirt hangs in tatters, revealing a chest marked with old scars, but no fresh wounds. The poison is gone. The gashes are closed. He should be dead, and instead he's watching her with those amber eyes that see too much. Maren, don't. She holds up a hand, still faintly shaking. Just don't. I need to understand what you are. With that power. I don't know what I am. The words explode out of her, raw and ragged. Is that what you want to hear? I don't know. I've never known. All I know is that I'm wrong. Broken. Something that shouldn't exist. Silence falls between them, heavy with the weight of her confession. He stands, moving with the fluid grace of a predator, but stops when she flinches back. Who told you that? Everyone. The laugh that escapes her sounds nothing like joy. My birth pack. My parents. The elders who examined me when my wolf first emerged. She stops, jaw clenching. My husband. The word tastes like poison on her tongue. Kieran goes very still. Tell me. Why? So you can pity me? So you can add my story to your collection of tragic she-wolves who? Tell me. Not a command. A request. But there's steel underneath it, the kind of quiet intensity that makes her throat tighten. She should refuse. Should guard her history the way she guards everything else about herself, with walls and silence and the absolute conviction that sharing pain only gives people weapons to use against you. But something about standing here, drained and vulnerable, in a cabin lit only by moonlight filtering through broken windows, makes the walls feel pointless. He already knows she's powerful. Already knows she's running. Already knows enough to destroy her if he chooses. What's one more truth? She sinks down against the wall, draws her knees to her chest. Makes herself small, the way she learned to do when the world got too big and cruel. I was born different, she begins, voice flat. Even before I could shift, the pack felt it. My scent was wrong. Too sharp. Like ozone and smoke. The other children wouldn't play with me. Their parents wouldn't let them. Kieran settles against the opposite wall, giving her space, but his attention is absolute. When I turned 16 and shifted for the first time, she closes her eyes, remembering. My wolf wasn't like the others. Wasn't the normal gray or brown or black. I was silver. Pure silver, like moonlight made flesh. And my eyes, she touches her face unconsciously. They glowed. Not normal amber. This white-hot light that hurt to look at. The elders said I was marked. That I carried something in my blood that hadn't been seen in generations. They performed rituals, studied ancient texts, whispered about prophecies I wasn't allowed to hear. And the more they discovered, the more frightened they became. Of what? Kieran asks quietly. Of what I could become. What I might do. Her voice drops. There were stories, apparently. Old legends about she-wolves born with silver fire in their veins. Wolves who could heal or destroy with equal ease. Who could channel the power of the first shifters, the ones who walked with gods and shaped the world with their will. They said I was dangerous. Unstable. That if I lost control, I could level entire territories. So they taught me to suppress it. To bury it so deep I'd forget it existed. Her hands clench into fists. And I learned. Gods, did I learn. I became an expert at making myself small, at dampening my scent, at shifting into a wolf so ordinary you wouldn't look twice. I spent years proving I was harmless. Years desperate to belong, to be normal, to be loved despite the wrongness humming beneath my skin. And then I met Marcus. The name falls into the space between them like a stone into still water. He was from a neighboring pack. Strong, confident, charming. He said all the right things, that I was beautiful, that my power made me special, not dangerous, that he'd protect me from anyone who tried to hurt me. She laughs bitterly. I was 19 and so starved for acceptance that I believed him. We married within 6 months. And for a little while, I thought I'd found it. Safety. Love. A place where I could exist without apologizing for it. Her voice cracks. I was so stupid. You were hopeful, Kieran corrects gently. That's not the same thing. She ignores him, pushing forward before she loses her nerve. The first time he hit me was 3 months after the wedding. I'd accidentally let my power slip while we were arguing, just a flicker, barely visible. But he saw it. And he was terrified. Terrified men are dangerous men. After that, it was like living with a bomb that could detonate at any moment. He'd be sweet and apologetic, swearing it would never happen again. Then something would set him off, my scent, my eyes, the way I moved, and the rage would come back. He said I made him do it. That if I just learned to control myself, to be normal, he wouldn't have to correct me. The word correct drips with venom. He isolated me from everyone. Said it was to protect me, but really it was to make sure no one would witness what he did behind closed doors. The bruises. The broken bones. The nights he'd force me to shift and shift and shift until I collapsed, trying to beat the wrongness out of me. I endured it for 3 years. 3 years of telling myself it would get better, that I deserved it, that if I could just be good enough, quiet enough, small enough, he'd love me the way he promised. Her hands are shaking again. And then one night, he went too far. Kieran leans forward, every line of his body tense. What did he do? He decided the only way to fix me was to break my wolf permanently. He got his hands on silver chains, pure silver, the kind that burns through shifter flesh like acid. He was going to bind my wolf, seal it away so I'd be human forever. But when he wrapped the chains around me, when the silver touched my skin, she looks down at her hands, remembering. The power exploded. Not the gentle healing light I used on you. This was rage. Pure, incandescent rage that had been building for years. The silver melted. The chains disintegrated. And Marcus. She stops. Swallows hard. I didn't kill him. But I wanted to. I wanted to burn him down to ash, to make him feel a fraction of what he'd put me through. I came so close. Her voice is barely a whisper now. And that's when I knew. The elders were right. I am dangerous. When I lose control, when the rage takes over, I'm exactly the monster they always said I was. So I ran, grabbed what I could carry and disappeared into the night. I've been moving ever since, trying to stay ahead of Marcus, ahead of my old pack, ahead of anyone who might recognize me. And I ended up here, in this broken cabin, trying to rebuild something from nothing. Trying to prove to myself that I'm more than the sum of my trauma and my power. She finally meets his eyes. Trying to believe I deserve to exist. The silence that follows is crushing. She waits for his judgment, his fear, his inevitable decision to leave before she can hurt him too. Instead, he says, that man should be dead. She blinks. What? Marcus. He should be dead. Preferably slowly. Kieran's voice is calm, matter of fact, but there's murder simmering underneath. What he did to you, that's not correction. That's torture. And any male who would treat his mate that way deserves to have his throat ripped out. I'm not his mate. The words are reflexive, sharp. No, you're not. Kieran's gaze holds hers. Because a true mate would cut off his own arm before raising it against you. A true mate would worship the ground you walk on, would see your power as the gift it is, would spend every breath making sure you never doubted your worth. Something in her chest cracks at those words. You don't know me, she protests weakly. I know enough. I know you survived hell and came out the other side, still capable of mercy. Still capable of using your power to heal instead of destroy, even though you had every reason to let me die. He shifts forward, and this time she doesn't flinch back. I know you're not a monster, Marin. You're a survivor. And there's a world of difference. But I am dangerous. You felt my power. You know what I could do if I lost control. Yes. I felt your power. A slow smile. It was magnificent. Terrifying and beautiful and more raw than anything I've encountered in 2 centuries. She stares at him. 2 centuries? I'm older than I look. Alpha bloodlines age slowly. He waves it off like it's irrelevant. The point is, I've met plenty of dangerous wolves. Alphas who rule through fear. Warriors who've mastered violence. Dark magic users who could end lives with a word. His voice softens. You're not like them. Your power isn't cruel. It's protective. It burns away poison and heals wounds and manifests as light, not darkness. That doesn't mean I'm safe. Safe is overrated. I'd rather have real than safe any day. He tilts his head, studying her. Besides, you want to know what I think? Not particularly. I think you've been lied to your entire life. By your pack, by your husband, by everyone who is supposed to protect you. They told you that you were dangerous because they were afraid. Afraid of what you represent, power that doesn't bow, strength that doesn't apologize, potential they couldn't control. So they broke you. Systematically dismantled your self-worth until you believed their lies. Until you saw yourself as a threat instead of a treasure. His eyes blaze with conviction. But here's the truth, Marin. You're not broken. You're not wrong. You're not a monster. You're exactly what you're supposed to be. And what's that? Her voice cracks on the question. Extraordinary. The word hangs in the air between them, impossible and perfect. She wants to believe him. Gods, she wants to believe him so badly it physically hurts. But belief requires trust, and trust is a luxury she can't afford. You don't understand, she says desperately. The things I've done, the rage I've felt, is exactly what any sane person would feel after years of abuse. Your anger doesn't make you a monster. It makes you human. He pauses. Or wolf. Whatever. The point stands. Despite everything, a laugh bubbles up, small, broken, but real. You're ridiculous. I'm honest. There's a difference. He sobers. I won't pretend to understand everything you've been through. But I do understand what it's like to carry power that frightens people. To be seen as a weapon instead of a person. To wonder if you're capable of being loved or if you're too damaged, too dangerous, too much. And, she asks quietly, and I learned that the right person, the right people, don't fear your strength. They celebrate it. They help you carry it when it gets too heavy, and they trust you to do the same for them. His smile turns sad. You've just never met anyone who deserved your trust. Until now. You think you deserve my trust? She raises an eyebrow. You're an alpha king. You have power, position, probably a pack that would do anything you ask. Why would you care about a broken she-wolf hiding in the mountains? Because the moment I caught your scent, something in me recognized you. Like my soul had been waiting my entire life for yours to appear. He stands, moves closer, but stops just out of reach. I'm not asking you to trust me completely. Not yet. I know that takes time. But maybe you could trust me a little. Enough to believe that I see you, all of you, and I'm not running. She looks up at him, this alpha king with eyes like fire and words like promises. He should terrify her. Everything about him, his size, his power, his absolute certainty, should send her scrambling for the door. But all she feels is tired. So bone-deep tired of carrying everything alone. Why did you really come here? She asks. And don't tell me it was just my scent. Alpha kings don't abandon their territories to chase dreams. He's quiet for a long moment. Then, there's a prophecy. An old one, passed down through the alpha bloodlines for generations. It speaks of a time when the packs would face a darkness unlike anything seen before. When shadow and decay would spread across the territories, poisoning the land and turning wolves against each other. The prophecy says that in this time of darkness, a wolf would emerge. A she-wolf born of silver fire, carrying the power of the first shifters in her blood. She would either save the packs, or destroy them all. Marin's blood runs cold. No. For months now, the darkness has been spreading. Shadow beasts multiply daily. Packs are falling to madness and violence. The old territories are dying, Marin. And the seers all say the same thing. The silver wolf has awakened. His gaze is unwavering. That's you. You're the one from the prophecy. That's impossible. I'm nobody. I'm just. You're the most powerful wolf I've ever encountered. And whether you accept it or not, you're connected to something bigger than both of us. He takes a breath. The dream that led me here? It wasn't just your scent. It was a vision. Of you, standing in flames, with the fate of every pack balanced on your shoulders. The ancestors sent me to find you. Why? The word comes out small, frightened. Because you're going to need help. And whether you believe in prophecies or not, whether you want this destiny or not, the darkness is coming for you. His expression gentles. But you don't have to face it alone. Not anymore. She closes her eyes, feeling the weight of his words settle over her like chains. Another destiny. Another expectation. Another reason for people to see her as something other than herself. I can't be what you need me to be, she whispers. I can barely hold myself together. How am I supposed to save anyone? Maybe you're not supposed to save anyone. He moves closer, and this time she doesn't stop him. Maybe you're just supposed to be yourself. And maybe that will be enough. His hand reaches out, hovers near her face, asking permission. Against every instinct screaming at her to pull away, to protect herself, to stay closed off, she nods. His fingers brush her cheek, gentle as a prayer. And the touch doesn't hurt. Doesn't frighten. It just is. I'm not asking you to trust me completely, he says softly. Just enough to let me stay. Let me help you rebuild this cabin. Let me prove that not everyone will hurt you. And when you're ready, if you're ever ready, we'll figure out the rest together. She should say no. Should send him away before this goes any further, before she starts depending on someone who will inevitably leave or betray or break her all over again. But looking into his eyes, feeling his touch like a lifeline in the dark, she finds herself saying, 1 week. You can stay 1 week. And then you leave, and we never speak of this again. A smile breaks across his face like sunrise. 1 week. I can work with that. She doesn't tell him that she's already regretting it. Doesn't tell him that part of her hopes he'll prove her wrong. Doesn't tell him that for the first time in years, she's not completely alone in the dark. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough for now. The week begins with silence and caution, like 2 wolves circling each other, trying to decide if the other is predator or prey. Kieran keeps his distance. He sleeps outside despite the cold, curled in wolf form beneath the trees where she can see him from the window. A silent promise. I'm here, but I won't crowd you. Won't push. Won't take more than you're willing to give. It's disarming how he respects her boundaries without making her feel fragile. During the day, he works. And God's, does he work? What took her weeks to barely manage, he accomplishes in hours. He hauls timber from the forest, cuts it to size with claws sharper than any saw. He rebuilds the chimney stone by stone, fixes the roof until it no longer leaks, reinforces the walls until they stand straight and true. She watches him from inside, pretending to organize her meager supplies, but really just observing the way he moves. Efficient. Powerful. But never showing off, never making her feel inadequate for what she couldn't do alone. On the 3rd day, she starts helping. It begins small, holding boards steady while he hammers, passing him tools, mixing mud for mortar. They don't talk much. Don't need to. There's a rhythm to working side by side, a language written in shared effort and mutual respect. But at night, when the fire burns low and exhaustion makes walls crumble, they talk. He tells her about his territory. About the northern packs and their endless politics, the weight of being responsible for thousands of wolves who look to him for guidance. He speaks of loneliness, how being Alpha King means always being surrounded by people, but never truly known. She tells him about the cabin. Why she chose this place, so remote even the maps don't show it. How she found peace in the simplicity of survival, in work that left her too tired to dream. They trade pieces of themselves like currency, each revelation a tentative step towards something neither of them dares to name. On the 4th night, everything changes. The storm rolls in without warning, black clouds swallowing the stars. Rain hammers down in torrents and wind screams through the trees with a voice that sounds almost human. Thunder shakes the ground. Kieran is inside before she can protest, dripping water, his eyes wild with something that isn't just concern about the weather. We need to leave, he says without preamble. Now. She stands from where she'd been feeding the fire. What? Why? Can't you feel it? He's pacing, agitated in a way she hasn't seen before. Something's wrong. The forest is afraid. She opens her mouth to argue, then stops. Because now that he's said it, she can feel it. A wrongness in the air, a pressure that makes her wolf whine and cower. The trees outside are bending in the wind, but it's not natural movement. It's like they're trying to pull away from something. What is it? I don't know. But we need to. The cabin door explodes inward. Not from wind. From force. Deliberate, violent force. Standing in the shattered doorway is a figure wrapped in shadow and rain. Because despite the darkness, Maren can tell it's female. Steps into the cabin with the casual confidence of someone who knows she's the most dangerous thing in the room. She's ancient. That's the first thing Maren understands. Not old in appearance, she looks maybe 40, with silver threaded through dark hair and eyes like frozen lakes, but ancient in the way she carries herself. In the power radiating from her skin like heat from coals. Found you, the woman says, voice smooth as silk and twice as dangerous. Kieran moves instantly, placing himself between Maren and the intruder. Identify yourself. Oh, I think you know who I am, boy. The woman's smile is all teeth. Your pack elders tell stories about me. The seer of the lost shrine. The one who remembers when the first wolves walked and gods still spoke. Saris. The name drops from Kieran's mouth like a curse. Good. Your education wasn't completely wasted. Saris's gaze shifts past him, locks onto Maren with uncomfortable intensity. And you. The silver wolf. The burning one. Do you know what you are yet, child? I'm not a child. Aren't you? You're barely 25. I've lived for 8 centuries. We're all children to me. She steps further inside, and the shadows follow her like loyal dogs. But age is irrelevant. What matters is that you've finally awakened. I've been waiting a very long time. Maren's hand finds the knife at her belt. Waiting for what? For you to stop hiding. Stop pretending to be something small and harmless when you carry the fire of the ancients in your veins. Saris tilts her head. Tell me, have you started seeing them yet? The visions. I don't know what you're talking about. Liar. No malice in the word, just certainty. You've been dreaming of fire and blood. Of wolves larger than houses, with eyes like stars. Of a woman with silver hair standing in a temple that shouldn't exist. Her smile widens. You've been seeing her every night since you healed the Alpha King. Ice slides down Maren's spine. Because she's right. The dream started the moment her power awakened. Vivid, impossible dreams of places she's never been and people she's never met. And always, always, the woman with silver hair, calling her name in a language Maren shouldn't understand but somehow does. How do you know that? Because I sent them. Well, she sent them. Through me. Saris's expression turns reverent. Luna. The first mother. The wolf goddess who shaped our kind from starlight and will. She's been trying to reach you for years, but you buried yourself so deep she couldn't get through. Until now. Kieran growls, low and warning. The first mother is a myth. Is she? Then explain the prophecy. Explain the shadow beasts that multiply despite having no natural means of reproduction. Explain why the old territories are dying, why the moon hangs red on certain nights, why the balance between our world and the dark is fracturing. Saris's eyes flash. The myths are waking, boy. And they're angry. What does this have to do with Maren? Everything. Saris turns her full attention back to Maren. You're not just powerful, child. You're a conduit. A bridge between the living world and the realm of the ancients. Luna herself chose you, marked you before you were born, poured a piece of her own essence into your soul. That's impossible. Is it? Then what is that power you carry? Healing light that burns away dark magic. Silver fire that responds to will rather than instinct. A wolf form that glows like the moon itself. Saris steps closer and Kieran tenses, ready to strike. You're not just ascended from the first wolves. You are one. Reborn. Renewed. Luna's answer to the darkness spreading across our world. Maren's head is spinning. This is too much. Too big. Too impossible. I don't want to be anyone's answer. I just want to be left alone. Unfortunately, the darkness doesn't care what you want. It's already hunting you. The shadow beasts that attacked the Alpha King? They weren't targeting him. They were following your scent, trying to eliminate you before you fully awakened. Ceres's voice softens. You can't hide anymore, Marin. The war is coming whether you're ready or not. What war? The one that's been brewing for centuries. Between those who serve the light and those who serve the void. Between preservation and destruction. Between Luna's children and, she hesitates. And the thing that's been locked away since the beginning. The thing that's finally breaking free. Kieran's voice is steady, but Marin can hear the tension underneath. What thing? The first darkness. The entity that existed before wolves, before shifters, before even the gods. It was sealed away by Luna and her mate, bound in chains of silver and will. But the seal is weakening. And when it breaks, Ceres meets Marin's eyes. It will come for you first. Because you're the only one with the power to stop it. The cabin feels too small suddenly. Too fragile. Like the walls might collapse under the weight of these revelations. Why me? Marin's voice cracks. Why not you? You're ancient. You're powerful. Why does it have to be me? Because prophecy chose you. Because Luna chose you. Because somewhere in your bloodline, centuries ago, someone made a pact. They offered their line in service to the light, and that debt has passed down through generations until it landed on you. Ceres's expression is almost sympathetic. I know it's not fair. I know you never asked for this. But fairness is a luxury we don't have. And if I refuse? If I just walk away? Then the darkness wins. The pacts fall. Everything you've ever known, everyone you've ever cared about, gets consumed by shadow and madness. The world ends slowly and painfully while you watch. Ceres shrugs. But at least you'll have your peace. For however long it lasts. The words hit like physical blows. Marin staggers back, her legs hitting the edge of her makeshift bed. This can't be real. Can't be happening. She's just one broken she-wolf. She can't save the world. Can barely save herself. Kieran's hand finds her shoulder, steady and grounding. She doesn't have to decide right now. Actually, she does. Ceres's voice hardens. Because the first darkness knows she exists now. Knows she's awakened. And it's sending everything it has to kill her before she can fulfill the prophecy. Those shadow beasts were just the beginning. What comes next will be worse. Then we'll face it together. Kieran's words are absolute. She won't be alone. Sweet sentiment. Useless in practice. Ceres waves a dismissive hand. You're strong, Alpha King, but you're not enough. Not against what's coming. She needs training. She needs to learn to control her power, to access the full extent of what Luna gave her. She needs to visit the lost shrine and complete the ritual. What ritual? The awakening. The ceremony that will fully merge her essence with Luna's gift, that will unlock the true depth of her power. Ceres's gaze is unwavering. Without it, she's just a spark. With it, she becomes a wildfire. The question is whether she has the courage to burn. Marin's hands are shaking. Her whole body is shaking. This is too much. Too fast. Too everything. Where's this shrine? 3 days north. Deep in the Forgotten Mountains, where the old magic still holds. It's a sacred place, protected by wards that will keep the darkness at bay. But the journey there, Ceres grimaces. The journey will be dangerous. The shadow beasts will hunt you every step of the way. And there are worse things than beasts in those mountains. Things that remember the old wars and hold grudges that span centuries. I'll protect her. Kieran's voice is iron. You'll try. Whether you succeed remains to be seen. Ceres moves toward the door, then pauses. You have until dawn to decide. Come to the northern ridge when the sun rises. I'll guide you to the shrine. Or don't come and seal your own fate along with everyone else's. She's gone before either of them can respond, vanishing into shadow and rain like she was never there at all. The silence she leaves behind is deafening. Marin sits on the bed, head in her hands, trying to process everything. Prophecy. Ancient darkness. A goddess's chosen. It's insane. Impossible. The ravings of someone who's lived too long and lost touch with reality. Except her power is real. The dreams are real. The shadow beasts were real. And something deep in her gut, something primal and knowing, says that Ceres is telling the truth. You don't have to do this. Kieran crouches in front of her, his eyes level with hers. Prophecy or not, destiny or not, you don't owe the world anything. Not after what it's done to you. But if she's right, then we'll figure it out. Together. But I won't let you be forced into something you don't want. Your choice matters, Marin. You matter. More than prophecy. More than destiny. More than any of it. She looks at him, this alpha king who somehow sees her as a person rather than a weapon. Who offers protection without demanding submission. Who makes her feel like maybe, just maybe, she's worth fighting for. What if I'm not strong enough? Then we'll make you stronger. But I think you're already stronger than you know. His hand covers hers. You survived 3 years of hell and came out the other side, still capable of mercy. Still capable of using your power to heal instead of destroy. That takes more strength than any ritual could give you. But what if I fail? What if I can't control it and everyone dies because of me? What if you succeed? What if you save thousands of lives? What if you become exactly who you're meant to be? He squeezes her hand gently. You can't live in the what-ifs, Marin. All you can do is choose. And whatever you choose, I'll stand beside you. She wants to believe him. Wants to trust that this time will be different, that this person won't break her like all the others did. But belief is hard. Trust is harder. I need to think. Take all the time you need. He stands, moves toward the door. I'll be outside if you need me. He's halfway through the doorway when she says, Kieran. He stops, looks back. Thank you. For not making this choice for me. For treating me like I'm more than just a tool. His smile is soft, genuine. You're not a tool, Marin. You're a person. A remarkable, powerful, absolutely terrifying person. But a person nonetheless. And people deserve choices. Then he's gone, leaving her alone with the fire and her thoughts and the weight of impossible decisions. She stares into the flames, watching them dance and shift. Thinks about prophecy and destiny and the cruel irony of spending years learning to make herself small only to be told she needs to burn bright enough to save the world. Thinks about Ceres's words. The only one with the power to stop it. Thinks about all the people who will die if she refuses. Innocent wolves who never asked to be part of an ancient war. Children who deserve to grow up in a world not consumed by darkness. Thinks about Kieran, standing between her and danger without hesitation, offering support instead of demands. And finally, thinks about herself. About the girl she was before the world broke her. The one who believed she could be extraordinary. Who dreamed of doing something that mattered. Maybe that girl isn't completely gone. Maybe she's just been sleeping, waiting for a reason to wake up. By the time dawn breaks, Marin has made her choice. She finds Kieran in wolf form, curled beneath a tree, eyes closed but ears swiveling at her approach. He shifts back to human as she gets close, concern written across his features. I'm going to the shrine, she says before he can ask. Not because of prophecy. Not because some goddess chose me. But because I choose this. Because I'm tired of hiding. Tired of running. Tired of letting fear make my decisions. His face breaks into a smile that could light the world. Then let's go meet your destiny. Our destiny, she corrects. You said we're in this together. Together, he agrees. They pack what little they have. Marin takes one last look at the cabin, her sanctuary, her refuge, the place she came to heal. It's not perfect. Still has gaps in the walls and a floor that creaks in places. But it's more whole than it was. Stronger. Like her. They head north as the sun climbs higher, painting the sky in shades of gold and rose. The forgotten mountains rise in the distance, jagged peaks that scrape the clouds. Somewhere up there is a shrine. A ritual. A transformation that will either save her or destroy her. But for the first time in years, Marin isn't walking toward her fate alone. And maybe that makes all the difference. The attack comes on the second day. They've been traveling through increasingly hostile terrain. Rocky paths that wind through valleys choked with dead trees, streams that run black with something that isn't water, clearings where nothing grows and the ground feels wrong underfoot. The closer they get to the mountains, the more the land itself seems poisoned. Kieran called it the corruption. The physical manifestation of the darkness spreading across the territories, killing everything it touches. Maren can feel it like oil on her skin, making her wolf recoil in disgust. They're crossing a narrow ravine when the howls start. Not wolf howls. Something else. Something that twists the sound into something nightmarish, all wrong angles and dissonance. Shadow beasts, Kieran growls, already shifting. Run. But Maren doesn't run. Because there, on the ridge above them, she can see them. 6 of them. Bodies made of smoke and malice, eyes glowing red like coals. They move with unnatural fluidity, flowing rather than walking, defying physics and reason. And they're not alone. Behind them, emerging from the corrupted forest, are wolves. Real wolves. But their eyes are vacant, their movements jerky and controlled. Possessed. Turned into puppets by whatever dark magic animates the beasts. They're using pack wolves, Maren breathes, horror washing over her. Those are someone's family. Someone's friends. They're already dead, Kieran says flatly. Their minds are gone. All that's left is the meat. It should make her feel better. It doesn't. The beasts charge. Kieran meets them head-on, his alpha power rolling out like a shockwave. He's magnificent in wolf form, massive, black as midnight, with those amber eyes blazing like suns. He tears into the first beast, claws raking through shadow, and it shrieks with a sound that makes Maren's ears ring. But more keep coming. And the possessed wolves are circling, trying to flank them, to separate them. Maren shifts without thinking. Her silver wolf bursts forth, and even in the chaos, she feels the wrongness of the corrupted land recoil from her light. The possessed wolves hesitate, confused by the brightness of her. Good. Let them be confused. She launches herself at the nearest one, trying not to think about the fact that this was once someone's daughter, someone's sister. Her jaws close around its throat, and she feels the moment the dark magic releases its hold. The wolf goes limp, and Maren prays that death is a mercy after whatever it endured. A shadow beast crashes into her from the side, sending her tumbling. Its claws rake across her ribs, and agony explodes through her body. The wounds burn with unnatural cold, spreading numbness through her muscles. She yelps, tries to roll away, but the beast is on her again. Its jaws open impossibly wide, revealing nothing but darkness inside. No teeth. No tongue. Just void. Then Kieran is there, slamming into the beast with enough force to shatter stone. They go down in a tangle of shadow and fur, snapping and tearing at each other. But even as Kieran fights, more beasts are emerging from the forest. Too many. They're outnumbered. They're going to die here. No. The thought rises from somewhere deep, somewhere fierce. She didn't survive Marcus just to die in a ravine at the claws of shadow puppets. Didn't choose to face her destiny just to fail at the first real challenge. Maren reaches for her power. Not the gentle healing light she used on Kieran. The other thing. The rage. The fire that's been burning inside her since the day she was born. It answers like it's been waiting. Silver flames explode from her body, washing over the ravine in a wave of searing light. The shadow beasts shriek as the fire touches them, their forms disintegrating like paper in a furnace. The possessed wolves collapse, freed from their torment. Even the corruption on the ground seems to retreat, the black stains fading to gray. Maren stands at the center of it, blazing like a star, and for the first time in her life, she doesn't try to suppress it. Doesn't try to make herself smaller. She lets the power burn, lets it consume everything that threatens them, lets it rage unchecked. And it feels glorious. The last beast dies screaming. The flames fade. Maren shifts back to human, gasping, her body covered in sweat and blood and ash. Kieran shifts beside her, eyes wide with something between awe and concern. Maren. I'm fine. She's not fine. She's shaking so hard her teeth chatter. But she's alive. They're both alive. That power, he reaches for her, stops. Are you in control? I think so. She looks down at her hands, half expecting to see them still wreathed in flames. But they're just hands. Human and ordinary. I didn't lose myself. I knew what I was doing the whole time. That's good. He stops, head snapping up. Someone's coming. Maren tenses, ready to call the fire again if needed. But the figures that emerge from the tree line aren't beasts or possessed wolves. They're shifters. A dozen of them in human form, dressed in the leather and furs of a traveling pack. And at their head is a woman Maren recognizes from old pack gatherings. Soraya, alpha of the Western Ridge Pack. One of the most traditional, conservative packs in the territories. And from the look on her face, she's not happy. Alpha King. Soraya's voice is cold, formal. We heard the battle. Came to investigate. The threat is eliminated. Kieran's tone matches hers, all alpha authority, no warmth. Shadow beasts and possessed wolves. They've been dealt with. So we see. Soraya's eyes slide to Maren, and there's nothing friendly in them. And this is the silver wolf. The one the prophecy speaks of. It's not a question. This is Maren, Kieran says. And yes, she's the one. Then the rumors are true. You've found the burning one. The destroyer. Soraya steps forward, and her pack flanks her like a wall. The one foretold to bring about the end of our kind. Maren's blood runs cold. I'm supposed to save the packs, not destroy them. Are you? Soraya's smile is sharp as broken glass. Funny. The version of the prophecy my elders teach speaks of a silver wolf whose fire will consume the world. Who will burn away everything we've built in her rage and pain. Who will be the darkness's greatest weapon, whether she means to be or not. That's not the same prophecy, Kieran growls. Isn't it? Or is it simply a matter of interpretation? Soraya's gaze never leaves Maren. I watched you fight, girl. Watched you unleash power that shouldn't exist. Power that burns as hot as it heals. And I have to ask myself, is that really what we want protecting us? Or is it exactly what will destroy us? The shadow beasts would have killed us without that power. Would they? Or did they come because of you? Did your presence, your awakening, draw them here? Soraya tilts her head. Tell me, Silver Wolf, how many innocents died today because the darkness is hunting you? The words hit like arrows. Because she's right. The possessed wolves were innocent. They died because the beasts were trying to get to Maren. That's not fair, Kieran snarls. She didn't ask for this. Doesn't matter what she asked for. What matters is the cost. Soraya addresses her pack. The Council of Alphas convenes in 3 days. We'll put this to a vote, whether the Silver Wolf is an asset or a threat. Whether she should be protected or eliminated for the good of all. You can't. Can't I? I'm an alpha, same as you. And my vote carries equal weight. Soraya's expression hardens. Take her to the shrine if you must. Complete your ritual. But know this. The packs are divided. Some see her as salvation. Others see her as damnation. And if the council rules against her, she doesn't finish the sentence. Doesn't need to. If the council rules against her, they'll have to go through me, Kieran says quietly. Dangerously. Even you can't fight all the packs, Alpha King. Not without starting a civil war. Soraya turns to leave, then pauses. For what it's worth, I hope I'm wrong. I hope she's exactly what the optimists say, a savior born to heal our world. But hope doesn't keep people safe. Action does. And if she becomes a threat, I will act. They vanish back into the forest, leaving Maren and Kieran standing in the ravine surrounded by ash and corpses. The silence is crushing. She's wrong, Kieran says finally. You're not a threat. Am I? Maren looks at the destruction around them. The scorched earth. The bodies of wolves who died because she exists. How do you know? How does anyone know what I'll become? Because I've seen your heart. I've felt your power. And I trust you. Maybe you shouldn't. She wraps her arms around herself, suddenly cold despite the lingering heat from her flames. Maybe Soraya is right. Maybe the safest thing for everyone is if I just disappear. No, he grabs her shoulders, forces her to look at him. Don't you dare. Don't you dare let them make you feel like your existence is a burden. You are not responsible for the darkness. You are not to blame for the beasts or the corruption or any of it. You're just the one trying to stop it. But people are dividing over me. Packs are turning against each other. What if completing this ritual makes it worse? What if I become exactly what they fear? Then we'll deal with it. Together. His grip gentles. But running won't solve anything. The darkness will keep spreading whether you're there to fight it or not. At least this way, you have a chance to make a difference. She wants to believe him. Wants to trust that her presence is worth the cost. But doubt is a poison that spreads as fast as any corruption. We should keep moving, she says quietly, before more beasts come. They travel in silence for the rest of the day. The mountains loom closer, jagged and forbidding. Maren can feel the shrine now, a pull in her chest like a compass pointing north. Luna's call, maybe? Or just her own desperate hope that there's an answer waiting at the end of this journey. That night, they make camp in a cave halfway up the mountain. Kieran builds a fire while Maren tends to her wounds. The gashes from the shadow beast are healing slowly, resisting her body's natural regeneration. Dark magic lingers in the cuts, making them throb with cold pain. Let me help. Kieran kneels beside her, his hands hovering over the wounds. You're not a healer. No, but I can draw out some of the poison. It's an alpha skill. We can absorb damage from our pack. He meets her eyes. May I? She nods. His hands settle over the gashes, and she feels the pull immediately. Like something is being drawn out through her skin, siphoned away by his touch. The pain recedes, the cold fading to manageable warmth. When he pulls back, his own skin is mottled with black veins. Kieran, I'll heal. It's temporary. He rolls his shoulders, grimacing. Besides, I heal faster than you do. Makes sense for me to take it. You didn't have to do that. I know. A small smile. I wanted to. Because you matter to me, Maren. More than you probably should after just a week. But there it is. Her throat tightens. Why? Why do you care so much? You barely know me. Don't I? He settles beside her, close but not crowding. I know you're brave enough to face your demons. I know you're kind enough to heal someone who could have been a threat. I know you have a darkness inside you that could consume the world, but you choose mercy instead. That tells me everything I need to know. You're seeing what you want to see, not who I actually am. Maybe. Or maybe you're so used to being told you're worthless that you can't recognize when someone sees your value. He stares into the fire. I grew up as an alpha heir. From the day I was born, people expected me to be perfect, strong, infallible. I spent decades trying to live up to those expectations, trying to be the leader everyone needed. And then one day I realized something. Perfection is a prison. The more you try to be flawless, the more you lose the parts of yourself that make you real. So I stopped trying. Started accepting that I'm just me. Powerful, yes. But also flawed. Lonely. Uncertain. He looks at her. You remind me that imperfection isn't weakness. That struggling doesn't make you broken. I am broken. You're scarred. There's a difference. Scars mean you survived. They're proof that you're stronger than whatever tried to destroy you. His hand finds hers. And if you're broken, then so am I. And so is every wolf who's ever faced real darkness and lived. We're all just broken pieces trying to fit together into something whole. Tears burn behind her eyes. When was the last time someone spoke to her like this? Like she was worth gentleness, worth understanding. The council is going to vote against me, she says quietly. I can feel it. They're going to decide I'm too dangerous. Then we'll change their minds. How? By completing the ritual. By proving that you can control your power. By showing them that you're choosing to stand with the packs, not against them. He squeezes her hand. And if they still vote against you, then we'll figure something else out. But I won't let them hurt you, Marin. I swear it. Even if it means going against the other alphas? Even if it means war? Even then. No hesitation. Because some things are worth fighting for. And you're one of them. She doesn't know what to say to that. Doesn't know how to process the absolute certainty in his voice, the bone-deep conviction that she's worth defending. So instead, she leans her head against his shoulder and lets herself have this moment. This brief respite from fear and doubt. This small pocket of peace in a world rapidly falling apart. Tomorrow, they'll reach the shrine. Tomorrow, everything changes. But tonight, she's not alone. And maybe that's enough. The shrine reveals itself at dawn. One moment they're climbing a treacherous path through mist-shrouded peaks, and the next, the fog parts like a curtain drawn back, revealing a structure that shouldn't exist. It's carved directly into the mountainside, a temple of white stone that seems to glow with its own inner light. Pillars rise like trees, their surfaces covered in symbols that shift and change when Marin tries to focus on them. At the center is a pool, perfectly still, reflecting the sky above in colors that have no name. And standing at the edge of the pool is Saris. You came, the ancient seer says, though she doesn't sound surprised. Good. We don't have much time. Time for what? Marin approaches cautiously, feeling the power thrumming through this place. It's old. Older than mountains. Older than memory. The ritual must be performed at moonrise. That gives us 12 hours to prepare you. Saris's eyes rake over Marin, assessing. You're stronger than when I last saw you. Good. But you'll need to be stronger still. What does the ritual involve? Submersion. You'll enter the sacred pool and allow Luna's essence to fully merge with yours. It will burn away everything that's not essential, every doubt, every fear, every limitation you've placed on yourself. What emerges will be the truest version of you, the version unbound by trauma or shame. It sounds terrifying. It sounds like exactly what she needs. And if I fail? Then you'll be consumed by the power and cease to exist. Your body will dissolve, your soul will fragment, and the darkness will have won. Saris says it matter-of-factly, like discussing weather. But I don't think you'll fail. You're more resilient than you know. That's not comforting. It's not meant to be. Comfort is a luxury we abandon the moment you chose to come here. Saris gestures to the temple. There are chambers inside. Rest. Meditate. Prepare yourself. The ritual requires you to enter it with clear intention and an open heart. She vanishes in that unnerving way of hers, leaving Marin and Kieran alone in the presence of something ancient and holy. I don't like this, Kieran mutters. Too many unknowns. Too many ways for it to go wrong. You don't have to stay. This isn't your fight. Like hell it isn't. He moves closer, his presence warm and solid in this strange, otherworldly place. I told you. We're in this together. That means I'm here until the end. Even if the end is me dissolving into nothing? Even then. He reaches up, tucks a strand of hair behind her ear with surprising gentleness. Because someone should witness your courage. Someone should be here to remember what you sacrificed. The words settle over her like a benediction. They enter the temple together. Inside, it's even more breathtaking. Vaulted ceilings that seem to stretch into infinity, walls carved with scenes of wolves running through stars, floors of polished stone that reflect everything like mirrors. There are chambers branching off the main hall, small rooms with sleeping pallets and basins of clear water. Marin claims one, and Kieran takes the one directly across from hers. close enough to reach if needed, far enough to give her space. She should rest, should meditate like Saris instructed. But her mind won't quiet, won't stop churning through everything that's happened, everything that could go wrong. Hours pass. The light shifts as the sun tracks across the sky, painting the temple in shades of gold and amber. Maren tries to center herself, tries to find that place of calm Marcus spent years beating out of her. But every time she closes her eyes, she sees the possessed wolves, sees Soraya's cold judgment, sees the future where she fails and everyone dies because of her. There's a soft knock on the doorframe. Kieran stands there, silhouetted against the light. Can't sleep either, he asks. Can't shut my brain off. Mind if I come in? She gestures assent, and he settles on the floor across from her, back against the wall. For a moment, neither speaks. The silence is comfortable, familiar. They've gotten good at this, existing in each other's space without demanding anything. Tell me something, Maren says finally. About you. Something real. Something that has nothing to do with being an alpha king. He considers this, head tilted. I'm afraid of deep water. She blinks. What? Deep water. Lakes, oceans, anything where I can't see the bottom. A sheepish smile. I nearly drowned as a child. Fell through ice during a winter hunt. My father pulled me out, but not before I saw what was under there. The darkness. The cold. The absolute certainty that I was going to die. Since then, I can fight shadow beasts without flinching. Can face down rival alphas 3 times my size. But put me near deep water and I panic like a child. He shrugs. Not very alpha king of me. It's human, Maren says softly. That's better. Your turn. Tell me something real. She draws her knees to her chest, thinking. I used to write poetry. Terrible, melodramatic poetry about the moon and belonging and finding home. I filled notebooks with it, kept them hidden under my mattress. Her voice catches. Marcus found them one day. He read them out loud, mocking every word. Then he burned them. Every single page. Said I needed to stop living in fantasy and face reality. What an absolute bastard, Kieran says with feeling. The worst part? I believed him. Believed that wanting beauty, wanting meaning, wanting anything beyond survival was childish. Stupid. A waste of time. She looks at her hands. I stopped writing. Stopped dreaming. Stopped imagining that life could be anything other than getting through each day without too much damage. Do you still remember any of it? The poetry? Bits and pieces. Why? Because you should write again. After all this. After the ritual and the darkness and everything else. His eyes are earnest. The world needs beauty, Maren. Especially in dark times. Maybe especially from people who've known darkness intimately. Something loosens in her chest. You really believe that? I do. I think survival is important, but it's not enough. We need reasons to survive. Things that make life worth living beyond just not dying. He shifts, moving closer. And I think your words, your poetry, your particular way of seeing the world, that's exactly the kind of thing worth preserving. She doesn't know what to say to that. Doesn't know how to hold the weight of someone believing in not just her power, but her personhood. Her right to create, to dream, to be more than a weapon or a prophecy. I'm terrified, she admits. Of tonight. Of the ritual. Of becoming something I can't control. I know. What if I lose myself? What if I go into that pool and the person who comes out isn't me anymore? Then I'll remind you who you are. He reaches across the space between them, offers his hand. Every day if I have to. Every hour. I'll tell you stories about the woman who healed me when she had every reason to let me die. Who chose mercy over vengeance. Who fought shadow beasts to protect innocence. Who faced down an alpha's judgment without flinching. Who was terrified but chose courage anyway. His fingers curl around hers. That's who you are, Maren. And no ritual can erase that. It can only amplify what's already there. You make it sound simple. It's not simple. It's the hardest thing in the world, trusting yourself when everyone else has spent years telling you you're not worth trusting. He squeezes her hand gently. But I believe in you. Even if you don't believe in yourself yet, I believe enough for both of us. Tears spill over before she can stop them. Silent, hot tracks down her cheeks. She's not even sure what she's crying for: grief for what she lost, fear of what's coming, or the overwhelming relief of being seen. Actually seen. Not as a weapon or a threat or a broken thing, but as a person deserving of kindness. Kieran doesn't tell her to stop crying. Doesn't try to fix it or minimize it. He just holds her hand and waits, patient as stone, while she falls apart. When the tears finally slow, she feels lighter. Emptied out in a way that's cleansing rather than diminishing. Thank you, she whispers. For what? For being here. For staying. For not treating me like I'm made of glass or like I'm a monster. She meets his eyes. For seeing me. You're easy to see. You just needed someone willing to look. He smiles, and it transforms his face from stern alpha to something softer. Younger. Besides, I'm getting more out of this than you think. How's that? I've spent 200 years being an alpha king. Being strong and certain and never showing weakness, because that's what the packs need. But with you, he trails off, searching for words. With you, I can just be Kieran. Just a wolf who's scared sometimes and uncertain often and deeply tired of carrying everything alone. You let me be imperfect. That's a gift. We're a pair, aren't we? Two broken people pretending to be whole. Or two whole people finally admitting we have cracks. He shifts closer until their knees are touching. I think that's more honest. More real. The afternoon light slants through the windows, painting them both in gold. The temple hums with ancient power, but in this moment, it's just the two of them. Two souls who've known darkness, learning to exist in each other's light. Can I tell you something? Marin asks. Something I'm not sure I should say? Always. I'm glad you found me. Glad you came to my cabin bleeding and impossible. Because as much as this terrifies me, the prophecy, the ritual, all of it, I'm not sorry it brought you into my life. She pauses, gathering courage. You make me want to believe I could be worth something. Could be someone beyond what was done to me. Kieran's breath catches. Marin. I know it's probably the mate bond talking. I know we haven't known each other long enough for this to be real. But, stop. He cups her face with both hands, forcing her to meet his eyes. Don't diminish this. Don't make it smaller than it is because you're afraid. What I feel for you isn't just the bond. The bond might have led me to you, but what's growing between us? That's choice. That's real. How do you know? Because the mate bond doesn't make me stay up worrying if you're eating enough. Doesn't make me want to hunt down everyone who ever hurt you and make them pay. Doesn't make me feel like I'd burn the world down to keep you safe. His thumbs brush her cheekbones. That's not magic. That's me. Choosing you. Every day. Every moment. Even knowing what I am? What I might become. Especially knowing. I don't want a tame version of you, Marin. I want the whole thing, the rage and the gentleness, the power and the fear, the poetry and the fire. I want the woman who survived hell and came out still hoping for something better. The space between them feels charged, electric. His eyes drop to her lips, and she knows he wants to kiss her. Knows she could close the distance and let this moment become something more. But there's something she needs to say first. I'm broken, she whispers. When it comes to touch, to intimacy, to anything physical, Marcus broke something in me. I don't know if it can be fixed. Don't know if I'll ever be able to. I don't care. The words are fierce, absolute. We'll figure it out together. At your pace. On your terms. And if physical intimacy never happens, that's fine too. Because what I want from you isn't your body. It's your trust. Your time. Your terrible poetry and your stubborn courage and your absolutely infuriating refusal to see your own worth. That's a lot to want. I'm a greedy man. He smiles, but it's tender. So yes, I want a lot. But I'll take whatever you're willing to give. Even if that's just this, sitting together, sharing truths, being honest about our cracks. She leans forward, rests her forehead against his. Not a kiss. Something simpler. More intimate somehow. A moment of pure connection, skin on skin, breath mingling in the space between them. After tonight, she says quietly. After the ritual. If I survive. When you survive. When I survive. I want to try. Try trusting. Try believing. Try letting someone in. She pulls back just enough to see his face. I want to try with you. His smile could light the darkness. I'll be here. However long it takes. Whatever it looks like. I'm not going anywhere. They stay like that until the light fades, until Saris appears in the doorway and announces that moonrise approaches. Until reality crashes back and Marin has to face the fact that in less than an hour, she'll either emerge transformed or cease to exist entirely. Kieran walks with her to the sacred pool. The temple has filled with an ethereal glow, moonlight filtering through impossible angles. The water reflects stars that shouldn't be visible yet, constellations that haven't existed for millennia. Last chance to run, Marin jokes weakly. Not a chance. I have to see how the story ends. He squeezes her hand. You've got this. And if you don't, if something goes wrong, I'll dive in after you. Prophecy be damned. Even with your fear of deep water? Especially because of it. You're worth facing my demons for. Saris materializes beside them, her expression grave. It's time. Remove your clothing. The ritual requires you to enter as you were born. No barriers between your essence and Luna's touch. Marin's hands shake as she strips down. Standing naked in the moonlight should make her feel vulnerable, exposed. But instead, she feels powerful. Like she's shedding more than just clothing, she's shedding shame, shedding the weight of every harsh word and cruel touch, shedding the version of herself that believed she deserved to be small. Kieran averts his eyes, giving her privacy even now. The gesture makes her throat tight. When you enter the pool, Saris instructs, you must submerge completely. Hold your breath and open your mind. Luna will come to you. Do not fear what you see. Do not resist the burning. Let it remake you. And if I can't? If the pain is too much, then you'll die. But I don't think you will. I think you're ready for this. Ready to become what you were always meant to be. Saris steps back. The choice is yours, Silver Wolf. Step into your destiny or walk away and let the darkness win. It's not really a choice. Not anymore. Marin moves to the edge of the pool. The water looks inviting, warm, like stepping into a summer lake. But she knows better. Knows that beneath the surface lies transformation or oblivion. She looks back at Kieran one last time. He's watching her with absolute faith, absolute certainty that she can do this. And maybe that's enough. She steps into the water. The water is warm at first. Comfortable. Like sinking into a bath after a long day. Marin wades deeper, feeling it rise to her knees, her waist, her chest. Then she goes under. The moment her head submerges, everything changes. The warmth becomes fire. Not burning fire, not yet, but the promise of burning. Heat that builds and builds, starting in her lungs, spreading through her veins, consuming every cell of her body. She wants to scream, but if she opens her mouth, she'll drown. So she holds on. Holds her breath. Holds her nerve. And waits for Luna. The water around her begins to glow. Silver light, bright as stars, swirling in patterns that make her eyes ache. The light coalesces, taking shape, becoming something almost human. A woman steps from the light. She's impossibly beautiful, tall and regal, with silver hair that flows like water and eyes that hold the entirety of the night sky. She wears no clothing, but she's draped in moonlight, in power, in divinity made manifest. Luna, the first mother, the goddess who shaped shifters from dreams and will. Little wolf, a voice echoes in Marin's mind, though the goddess's lips don't move. You came. I've been waiting so long. Marin tries to respond, but she has no voice here. No words. Only thoughts. Why me? She thinks desperately. Why choose me for this? Because you understand suffering. And only those who've known true darkness can wield true light without being consumed by it. Luna reaches out, touches Marin's face with fingers that burn like ice and fire simultaneously. Because you were broken and chose to rebuild. Because rage lives in you, but so does mercy. You are the balance I need. But I'm not strong enough. I'm just a survivor? Just a woman scarred by cruelty? Just a wolf who learned to suppress her power to stay safe? Luna's smile is sad, knowing. You are all those things. And you are so much more. Let me show you. The goddess presses her palm to Marin's chest, directly over her heart. And the burning truly begins. It's agony. Pure, undiluted agony that makes everything Marcus ever did feel like a gentle caress. The power pours into her, through her, remaking her from the inside out. Every cell splits and reforms. Every bone breaks and heals. Every nerve lights up with sensation so intense it transcends pain and becomes something else entirely. She sees her life laid out like a map. Every moment of suffering, every cruel word, every blow, every time she made herself small to survive. And Luna's power moves through those memories like fire through paper, burning away the shame, the self-hatred, the belief that she deserved what was done to her. You are not responsible for their cruelty, Luna's voice echoes. You are not diminished by their fear. You are not defined by their limitations. The memories shift, transform. She sees herself not as a victim, but as a survivor. Sees her choices to heal Kirin, to face the shadow beasts, to come to this shrine, not as weakness, but as profound courage. You have always been worthy, Luna says. You have always been enough. I did not make a mistake when I marked you. You are exactly who I needed. The power intensifies, and Marin feels her wolf surging forward, merging with Luna's essence. Her silver fur begins to glow, actually glow, like she's made of moonlight and starfire. Her eyes burn white hot. And from her chest, spreading like wings, silver flames erupt. This is your truth, Luna whispers. This is who you are beneath the fear. Embrace it. And Marin does. She stops fighting, stops resisting, stops trying to control or contain. She lets the power flow through her unchecked, lets it burn away everything that's not essential, lets it remake her into something new. Something unbreakable. The burning reaches a crescendo. And then stops. Marin surfaces with a gasp, breaking through the water into air that tastes like lightning and flowers. She's glowing. Actually glowing, her entire body wreathed in silver light that makes the temple around her look dim by comparison. She can feel the power thrumming through her, vast and terrible and beautiful. But it's not foreign. It's her. It's always been her. She just had to remember. On the shore, Kirin is staring at her with undisguised awe. By the gods, he breathes. You're magnificent. She climbs from the pool, and the water sluices off her like mercury, like liquid moonlight. She should feel vulnerable standing naked and dripping before him. But she just feels powerful. Whole. Complete. How do you feel? Saris asks, appearing from somewhere in the shadows. Like I could burn the world down and rebuild it better. Marin looks at her hands, watches the silver fire dance across her palms without burning. Like I've been asleep my entire life and I'm finally awake. Good. Because you're about to need every bit of that power. Saris's expression is grim. They're here. Who? Everyone. The Council of Alphas. Soraya and her Western Ridge Pack. Half the Northern Territories. Saris gestures toward the temple entrance. Word spread about the ritual. They came to see if you'd survive. And now that you have, she doesn't need to finish. Marin can hear them now. Voices outside the temple, dozens of them, arguing and shouting. She reaches for her clothes, but they feel wrong. Too confining. Too much like trying to make herself small again. Instead, she wraps herself in a cloak that appeared on the edge of the pool, white as snow, soft as fur, and somehow exactly her size. Magic. Luna's gift, maybe? Or just the temple providing what's needed. She steps outside with Kieran at her side. The sight that greets her is staggering. The courtyard in front of the temple is packed with wolves, hundreds of them, maybe thousands, in both human and wolf form. Alphas stand at the front, their power radiating out in waves that would normally make her want to submit. But not anymore. Now, her own power rises to meet theirs, unflinching. At the center of the gathering stands Soraya, flanked by 5 other alphas Marin recognizes from old pack councils. And behind them, chains wrapped around his wrists in silver that makes him flinch with every movement, is Marcus. Her ex-husband. The man who spent 3 years destroying her. He looks different than she remembers, older, haggard, with a desperation in his eyes that makes him look more like prey than predator. When he sees her, all the color drains from his face. No, he whispers. It can't be. You're supposed to be broken. Powerless. Surprise, Marin says flatly. Then, to Soraya. What is this? A trial, the Alpha answers. Marcus came to us 3 days ago, claiming you were his runaway mate. That you attacked him without provocation, tried to kill him, and fled to avoid justice. She pauses. He petitioned the council to have you hunted down and returned to him for punishment. Ice floods Marin's veins. And you believed him? We had no reason not to. Until Soraya gestures to the temple, to Marin glowing with divine power. Until this. Until you completed the ritual and proved you're the one from the prophecy. Now we have questions. She's lying, Marcus snarls, straining against his chains. Whatever she told you, whatever she showed you, it's manipulation. She's a monster. She nearly killed me for trying to help her control her power. Help. The word comes out as a snarl. Marin's power flares, casting the courtyard in silver light. You call torture help? Call chains and beatings and systematic destruction help. She's delusional. Sick. This is exactly why she needs to be controlled. Enough. Kieran's voice cuts through the crowd like a blade. I've heard enough from the male who thought he could break a goddess-marked wolf. He turns to the council. You want truth? Here it is. Marcus is an abuser. He spent years torturing his mate, trying to suppress her power because it frightened him. She fled to survive. End of story. That's the Alpha King's version. Another Alpha speaks up. Stellan, leader of the Eastern Peaks. But this is pack law we're discussing. We can't just take your word for it. Then take mine, Saris says, stepping forward. I've lived 8 centuries. I've seen thousands of matings, thousands of bonds. And I've never seen one more poison than this. She points at Marcus. That male is a coward who saw power in his mate and chose violence over support. He deserves no mercy. But pack law states. Pack law is broken, Marin interrupts, her voice ringing with power that makes even the alphas flinch. If your laws allow males to abuse their mates without consequence, if your laws prioritize control over justice, then your laws need to burn. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Some shocked, some approving, some outright hostile. Soraya holds up a hand for silence. The council will deliberate. Marcus's claims will be investigated thoroughly. But there's another matter at hand. She fixes Marin with a hard stare. The prophecy speaks of a silver wolf who will either save the packs or destroy them. You've awakened your power. You've completed the ritual. But that doesn't tell us which path you'll choose. What are you saying? I'm saying that power like yours needs to be supervised, guided, for the good of all. Soraya's tone makes it clear this isn't a suggestion. The council proposes that you submit to our authority. Work under our direction. Use your power only as we deem necessary. You want to control me. The realization settles like lead. You want me to trade Marcus's chains for yours. We want to ensure you don't become the threat the prophecy warns about. Can you honestly say you're stable? That the rage you carry won't consume you. Soraya steps closer. You burned shadow beasts to ash 2 days ago. What's to stop you from doing the same to wolves who oppose you? Who threaten you? Who simply make you angry? My choices. My will. My humanity. Marin's hands clench into fists. I'm not a weapon you can point and fire. I'm a person. A person with the power to level cities. To kill thousands with a thought. Another alpha speaks up, Valen, from the southern sands. We've seen what happens when that kind of power goes unchecked. Entire territories destroyed. Packs wiped from existence. We can't risk. Can't risk what? That I might fight back when threatened? That I might protect myself and others from darkness you're too afraid to face. Marin's power flares brighter. I've spent my whole life being told I'm too dangerous. Too powerful. Too much. And I'm done apologizing for existing. Then you leave us no choice, Soraya says coldly. The council votes now. All in favor of placing the silver wolf under council authority, bound by restrictions and supervised at all times. Hands raise. Marin counts them with a sinking heart. 5, 6, 7 out of 12 alphas vote yes. All opposed. Kieran's hand shoots up immediately. 2 others join him, alphas she doesn't recognize, from smaller packs maybe. But it's not enough. 7-5. She's lost. By council decree, Soraya announces, the silver wolf known as Marin is hereby placed under our authority. She will be assigned a guardian pack, will submit to regular power assessments, and will not use her abilities without explicit council permission. She signals to wolves in the crowd. Take her into custody. Like hell you will. Kieran moves in front of Marin, his alpha power rolling out like a tidal wave. She's under my protection. You want her, you go through me first. Even you can't fight the entire council, Alpha King. Stand down. No. The air crackles with tension. Wolves shift, ready for violence. This is it, the moment where words become action, where political maneuvering becomes war. And then Marcus laughs. It's a broken, bitter sound that cuts through the standoff. This is perfect. Absolutely perfect. You think you've won, don't you, Marin? Think you're free? But you'll never be free. Because they're right, you're dangerous. You are a threat. And eventually, you'll prove them right. You'll lose control. You'll hurt someone. And when you do, everyone will know I was trying to protect the world from you all along. Something snaps inside her. All the years of abuse, all the gaslighting, all the times he convinced her she was the problem, it crashes over her in a wave of pure rage. Her power surges, reaching for him, ready to burn him away like the shadow beasts, to erase him from existence. And she catches herself. Barely. But she does. The power pulls back, contains itself. She's shaking with the effort, sweat breaking out across her skin. But she doesn't kill him. Doesn't even hurt him. You see, Soraya says quietly. She almost lost control. She almost proved Marcus right. But she didn't, Kieran counters. She chose mercy. Even when facing the male who tortured her, even when she had every right to vengeance, she chose not to kill him. Doesn't that prove she can be trusted? Or it proves she's one bad moment away from snapping. One trigger away from becoming exactly what we fear. Soraya's expression is almost sympathetic. I take no pleasure in this, Marin. But I have a responsibility to thousands of wolves. I can't risk them all on the hope that you'll maintain control. Then you've already decided I'm guilty. Already decided I'm a monster. Marin's voice is hollow. No matter what I do, no matter how much I prove myself, you'll always see me as a threat. Can you blame us? Look at yourself. Look at the power radiating from you. That's not natural. It's not. It's divine, Saris interrupts. Luna herself marked this wolf. Chose her. Filled her with purpose. Are you really so arrogant as to think you know better than a goddess? Gods don't walk among us anymore. We have only ourselves to protect. Enough. The word doesn't come from Marin. It comes from everywhere and nowhere, echoing off the mountains, shaking the ground beneath their feet. The sacred pool behind them begins to glow, brighter and brighter, until a pillar of silver light erupts from its center. And Luna manifests. Not fully, she's translucent, ephemeral, more impression than substance. But her presence is undeniable. Every wolf in the courtyard drops to their knees, unable to resist the command of divinity. You dare, Luna's voice resonates in every mind present, to question my chosen? To try to bind and control what I have freed? Great Mother, Soraya gasps, forehead pressed to the ground. We mean no disrespect. We're only trying to continue the cycle of fear that has plagued my children for millennia. To punish power instead of nurturing it. To crush what you don't understand rather than learning from it. Luna's form drifts toward Marin, and though she's insubstantial, Marin feels the goddess's touch like a brand. This wolf is mine. She carries my essence, my purpose, my will. And anyone who tries to cage her will answer to me. The threat hangs in the air, absolute and terrifying. She will face the darkness coming for you all. She will stand between you and oblivion. And when she saves your packs, when she burns away the shadows threatening to consume everything, you will remember this moment. Luna's gaze sweeps the crowd. You will remember that you tried to chain her. And you will be ashamed. The goddess begins to fade, her form dissolving like mist in sunlight. But her final words echo, trust her. Or doom yourselves. The choice is yours. Then she's gone. Silence. Absolute, crushing silence. Slowly, wolves begin to rise. Some look shaken. Others look angry. But none look ready to challenge divine decree. Soraya straightens, her face pale but composed. The council will take the goddess's words under advisement. Marin will remain free, but... No buts, Kiran says firmly. Luna spoke. That's the end of it. The darkness is still coming. The shadow beasts still hunt. We still need to organize a defense. Then organize it. But you'll do it with Marin as an ally, not a prisoner. Kiran's arm settles around Marin's shoulders, protective and sure. And anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me. And Luna. And anyone else stupid enough to think chains are the solution. Marin leans into his touch, grateful beyond words. Because even with divine intervention, even with Luna's blessing, she can see it in their eyes. The alphas still fear her. Still doubt. Still see her as something to be controlled or destroyed. The vote might have been overturned. But the damage is done. And as the crowd begins to disperse, as wolves scatter back to their territories, she catches Marcus's expression. He's smiling. Actually smiling, despite his chains. Because he won. Not the trial. Not his freedom. But something worse. He planted doubt. Made them see her as volatile, as dangerous, as one bad moment away from catastrophe. And even Luna's intervention can't erase that completely. Kiran must sense her despair because he pulls her closer. They'll come around. When you save them, they'll understand. And if I can't save them, she whispers, what if Soraya is right? What if I do lose control? Then we'll figure it out. Together. Like we always do. He presses a kiss to her temple. But I don't think you will. Because even in your darkest moment, Even facing the male who broke you, you chose mercy. That's who you are, Marin. That's your truth. She wants to believe him. Wants to trust that mercy is enough, that choosing not to kill Marcus proves something. But deep down, in the places she doesn't like to examine, she felt how good it would have been to burn him away. How right it would have felt to erase him from existence. And that terrifies her more than any shadow beast ever could. The attack comes the next dawn. They're camped in the valley below the shrine, trying to regroup, trying to process everything that happened with the council. Marin hasn't slept, how could she? Every time she closes her eyes, she sees Marcus's smile, hears Soraya's accusations, feels the weight of impossible expectations. Kieran is dozing fitfully beside the fire when Marin feels it. The wrongness. The darkness pressing in from all sides. Kieran. Wake up. He's on his feet instantly, eyes scanning the tree line. What is it? They're coming. The shadow beasts. Dozens of them. She can feel them now, a spreading stain on her awareness. No, not dozens. Hundreds. That's impossible. There's never been a swarm that large. The howls begin. Not from one direction, but from everywhere, surrounding them completely. And these aren't the dissonant cries of regular shadow beasts. These are coordinated. Intelligent. The first darkness, Marin breathes. It's controlling them directly. The forest erupts with movement. Shadow beasts pour into the clearing, their forms more solid than before, more real. Behind them come possessed wolves, entire packs, their eyes vacant, their movements puppet-like. And at the center of the swarm, something else. A figure wreathed in absolute darkness. Taller than any wolf, with eyes like dying stars and a presence that makes reality itself seem to warp and bend. There you are, a voice whispers directly into Marin's mind. Not words, exactly. More like the concept of words, translated through malice and hunger. Luna's little spark. I've been searching for you. Get behind me, Kieran orders, already shifting. But Marin doesn't move. Can't move. Because she understands now, with horrible clarity, what this is. The first darkness isn't just some abstract evil. It's alive. Conscious. And it's been feeding on the fear and doubt the council planted in her. That's right, the voice purrs. Your own kind has shown you the truth. You're not their savior. You're their executioner. They fear you. Hate you. Want you controlled or dead. That's not true. Isn't it? You felt it in the courtyard. Saw it in their eyes. Even after Luna's intervention, they doubt you. They'll always doubt you. Because deep down, you doubt yourself. The shadow beasts circle closer. The possessed wolves bare their teeth. And Kieran is a black blur of motion, trying to fight them off, but there are too many. He's bleeding from a dozen wounds already, his movements slowing. Stop. Marin screams. This isn't about him. It's about me. Let him go. Let him go? The darkness laughs, and it sounds like the death of hope. Why would I do that? He's the perfect leverage. Kill him, and you'll never forgive yourself. Let me kill him, and you'll burn with rage. Either way, you lose control. Either way, you become mine. A shadow beast lunges at Kieran, claws extended. He dodges, but barely. He's tiring. Fading. He's going to die. The thought is a knife to her chest. After everything, after he found her, saved her, believed in her when no one else did. He's going to die because she's too afraid to use her power. Too afraid of what she might become. That's right, the darkness whispers. You're afraid. Weak. Just like they all said. Just like Marcus knew. You'll never be anything more than a broken she-wolf playing at being powerful. Something inside her cracks. Not breaks. Cracks. Like ice under pressure, like stone under heat. And through that crack pours everything she's been holding back. The rage, the pain, the absolute fury at a world that has taken and taken and taken from her without giving anything back. You're wrong, she says quietly. The darkness pauses, sensing the shift. I'm not weak. I'm not broken. And I'm done letting fear control me. She looks at the entity, at the shadow beasts, at the entire nightmare surrounding them. You want to see what I am? What Luna made me? Yes, the darkness hisses. Show me. Lose control. Prove them all right. I'm not going to lose control. Marin's power begins to rise, silver light spilling from her skin. I'm going to choose violence. There's a difference. She shifts. But not into her normal wolf form. Not even into the silver wolf she used to be. This is something else entirely, her true form, the one Luna unlocked. She's massive, easily twice the size of Kieran's alpha form. Her fur doesn't just glow, it burns, actual silver flames rippling across her body without consuming it. Her eyes are pure white light, blazing like twin suns. And from her shoulders, like wings made of fire, lunar flames spread wide. The shadow beasts recoil. Even the possessed wolves hesitate. Impossible, the darkness breathes. You're not supposed to, you can't be. I am the first mother's chosen. Marin's voice echoes with Luna's power, resonating in every mind present. I am the silver wolf of prophecy. I am the fire that cleanses and the light that guides. And you will not touch him. She launches herself at the nearest shadow beast, and where her jaws close, the creature doesn't just die, it ceases. Erased from existence by power that existed before darkness had a name. She tears through the swarm like a meteor through atmosphere, burning, destroying, purifying. The possessed wolves scatter, the dark magic controlling them unable to maintain its grip in the face of her light. They fall unconscious, but alive, freed from their puppetry. The shadow beasts try to fight back, try to overwhelm her with numbers. But she's not the frightened she-wolf from the ravine anymore. She's not suppressing her power or second-guessing her right to exist. She's fully awakened, fully committed, and absolutely done being merciful to things that want to destroy everything she loves. Because that's what this is, she realizes as she fights. Love. Not romantic love, though that's there too, tender and new and terrifying. But love for life itself. For the wolves trying to survive. For the world that deserves better than being consumed by ancient evil. For Kieran, who saw worth in her when she couldn't see it herself. She fights for that love. Chooses it over fear. Over doubt. Over the voice in her head that says she's too dangerous to be trusted. The entity of darkness realizes its mistake too late. It tries to retreat, to pull back into whatever void spawned it. But Marin is faster. She leaps, crossing impossible distance in a single bound, and her jaws close around the darkness's essence. It's like biting into poison and ice, and the concept of despair. It fights, thrashing, trying to corrupt her from the inside, trying to turn her power against herself. But Luna's essence runs too deep. The light burns too bright. And Marin's will, forged in 3 years of surviving hell, tempered by grief and rage and stubborn hope, is unbreakable. She doesn't destroy the first darkness. Can't, probably. It's too old, too fundamental to reality. But she seals it. Burns it down to a fraction of its former strength and binds it in chains of silver fire that will hold for centuries. This isn't over. The darkness gasps as it's pulled back into whatever prison once held it. You can't protect them all. Can't save everyone. And when you fail, when you let someone die, they'll remember their fear. They'll turn on you. And I'll be waiting. Then wait, Marin snarls. Because I'm not afraid of you anymore. I'm not afraid of failing. I'm not afraid of being too much. I'm done living my life in fear. The darkness shrieks and vanishes, pulled back through dimensions into its ancient cell. The shadow beasts that remain collapse into nothing. The possessed wolves lie scattered across the clearing, unconscious, but breathing. And Marin shifts back to human, her power settling into something manageable, something she can carry without being consumed. Kieran approaches cautiously, still in wolf form, blood matting his fur. When he shifts back, he's covered in wounds, exhausted, but alive. Gloriously, impossibly alive. You did it, he says, voice rough with awe. You actually did it. You faced the darkness and won. We won. She crosses to him, ignoring her own exhaustion, and starts examining his injuries. You kept it distracted. Gave me time to realize what I needed to do. What you needed to do was embrace your power. Stop apologizing for it. Stop letting fear dictate your choices. He catches her hands. You are magnificent, Marin. Terrifying and beautiful and absolutely unstoppable. I was angry. Furious, actually. It tried to use you against me, and She trails off, realizing something. I didn't lose control. I chose rage. Chose violence. But I stayed present the whole time. I could have killed the possessed wolves, but I freed them instead. I could have destroyed everything, but I only destroyed what needed destroying. Because you're not a monster. You're not what they fear. You're exactly what Luna said, a wolf who understands darkness, because she's known it intimately, but who chooses light anyway. He pulls her close, heedless of blood and wounds and exhaustion. You're my hero, Marin. And I'm so damn proud of you. Tears spill over, but they're not tears of despair. They're relief. Release. The knowledge that she faced her worst fear, losing control, proving the doubters right, and came through it intact. The council needs to see this, she says. Needs to understand that I'm not a threat. That I can be trusted. They will. When word spreads about what happened here, when these wolves wake up and tell their packs how you freed them instead of killing them, the council will have to acknowledge they were wrong. He pauses. And if they don't, then they're fools who don't deserve your protection. Movement from the tree line makes them both tense. But it's not more shadow beasts. It's wolves, real wolves, from packs that must have been camped nearby. They witnessed the battle. Saw everything. At their head is Stellan, the Eastern Peaks Alpha who voted against the council's restrictions. Silver Wolf, he says, dropping to one knee. I witnessed your battle. Saw how you could have killed us all but chose mercy. Saw how you sealed the darkness instead of letting rage consume you. He bows his head. My pack stands with you. Whatever comes next, wherever you lead, we will follow. Other wolves step forward. Some she recognizes from the council gathering. Others are strangers. But one by one they kneel. They submit. Not out of fear, but out of respect. We were wrong, one of them says, a younger alpha, barely older than Marin herself. We let fear cloud our judgment. But you've proven that power and mercy can coexist. That strength doesn't require cruelty. I'm not asking anyone to follow me, Marin says. I'm not asking for submission or worship or anything except to be allowed to exist. To use my power how I see fit. To choose my own path. We know, Stellan responds. That's why we're offering. Because you're not demanding it. Because you've proven that Luna's choice was right. Marin looks at them, these wolves who witnessed her at her most powerful and somehow weren't afraid. Who saw her choose mercy when vengeance would have been easier and decided that made her worth following. The darkness will come back, she warns. Probably stronger. Definitely angrier. Following me means walking into danger. We're already in danger. At least with you, we have a chance. Stellan stands. So what now, Silver Wolf? What's our next move? She looks at Kieran. At these wolves offering their loyalty. At the dawn breaking over the mountains, painting everything in shades of gold and rose. For the first time in her life, she's not running. Not hiding. Not making herself small to avoid drawing attention. She's standing tall. Claiming her power. Choosing her path. Now, she smiles, and it's fierce and bright and full of possibility. Now we rebuild. We gather allies. We prepare for the darkness's return. And we show the council and everyone else that fear is not how we survive. Unity is. Trust is. Choosing to believe in each other even when it's hard. And if they don't listen, someone asks. Then we protect them anyway. Because that's what heroes do. They save people who don't deserve it. Who doubt them. Who fear them. She meets Kieran's eyes. Because mercy isn't weakness. It's the hardest kind of strength. He grins. I knew I was right about you. You were insufferably confident, yes. And now? Now you're insufferably correct. She takes his hand, laces their fingers together. Come on. We have wounded to heal and a world to save. Might as well get started. They walk back toward the shrine together, surrounded by wolves who chose faith over fear. The sun climbs higher, driving back the last of the night's shadows. And somewhere deep beneath reality, in a prison of silver chains and divine will, the first darkness watches and waits. But for now, for this moment, the light has won. 3 months later, Maren stands on the ridge overlooking what used to be her lonely cabin. It's not lonely anymore. They've built it into something more. Not just a structure, but a sanctuary. Wolves from a dozen packs live here now, the ones who were displaced by shadow beast attacks, the ones who needed refuge while their territories heal. The cabin has been expanded, reinforced, transformed into a proper lodge with rooms for families and a great hall where they gather for meals and stories. It's become a symbol. Proof that broken things can be rebuilt into something stronger. Kieran comes up behind her, wraps his arms around her waist. Thinking. Always. She leans back against him, wondering if this is real. If I'm really allowed to have this safety community, you're allowed. You've earned it 1,000 times over. He presses a kiss to her temple. The scouts report no shadow beast activity for 2 weeks. First time since the sealing. Maybe we actually get to rest for a while. Maybe. But she can feel it, that distant pressure. The darkness stirring in its prison. It's not gone. Not truly. Just waiting. Building strength for another attempt. But she's not afraid anymore. Or rather, she's afraid but chooses courage anyway. There's a difference. Maren, a young wolf, barely more than a pup, comes running up the path. You have to come see. The garden's blooming. Even though it's supposed to be winter, everything's growing. It's her power seeping into the land. Healing the corruption, making things grow that shouldn't. Luna's light manifesting in unexpected ways. She follows the pup down to where they've planted vegetables and herbs. And sure enough, everything is lush and green, defying the season. Other wolves are gathered around, marveling. It's like the stories someone whispers. About the old times, when Luna walked among us and the land itself rejoiced. Maren touches a tomato plant heavy with fruit, feels the life pulsing through it. Her power connecting to the earth, coaxing it back to health. Do you ever regret it? Kieran asks later, when they're alone under the stars. Choosing this path? Taking on this responsibility? She considers it honestly. Sometimes. Sometimes I miss the simplicity of hiding. Of not mattering to anyone. She looks at him. But then I remember what I would have missed. You. Them. This. She gestures to the lodge below, warm with firelight and laughter. A life that means something beyond just surviving. You're happy. I'm terrified. But yes. Happy too. Is that allowed? More than allowed. Required. He pulls her closer. You deserve happiness, Maren. After everything. You deserve peace and joy and every good thing this world has to offer. Even though the darkness is coming back? Especially because of that. We fight harder when we have something worth protecting. He kisses her then, soft and sweet and full of promise. They still haven't gone further than kissing. She's not ready, may never be ready, and he's never pushed. Never made her feel broken for needing time. It's one of the 1,000 ways he proves, every day, that he's nothing like Marcus. The council voted again, she says when they break apart. Saris sent word this morning. And? 10-2 in my favor. Officially recognized as Luna's chosen. Given autonomy to act as I see fit. She smiles. Soraya voted against, obviously. But even she's coming around. Slowly. Progress. Progress, she agrees. In the distance, wolves howl. Not in warning, but in joy, in connection. The sound that says I am here, you are there, we're pack. She adds her voice to theirs, lets her power shimmer in the call, and hears it echo back 100-fold. Do you think we'll win? She asks quietly. When the darkness comes back? I think we'll fight like hell. And that's all anyone can do. He squeezes her hand. But yes, I think we'll win. Because we have something the darkness doesn't. What's that? Hope. Love. The absolute stubborn refusal to give up even when everything looks impossible. He grins. We have you. She wants to protest that she's not enough, that one wolf can't save the world. But maybe that's not true. Maybe one wolf can tip the balance, can inspire others to be brave, can show that mercy and power aren't opposites but partners. Maybe that's enough. Come on, she says. Let's go home. They walk down the ridge together, toward warmth and light and the sound of family. Toward a future that's uncertain but no longer lonely. Toward whatever comes next. And if the darkness is watching, and it is, always let it see this. A silver wolf who chose herself. Who refused to be caged or controlled or diminished. Who turned her pain into power and her power into purpose. Let it see her surrounded by wolves who believe in her. Protected by an alpha king who loves her. Rooted in a place she built with her own bloodied hands. Let it see and understand. She's not running anymore. She's ready. Would you have chosen her side? After watching her struggle, after seeing her power, after witnessing her choose mercy when vengeance was easier, would you have kneeled? Or would you have been one of the ones who feared her flame? That's the question, isn't it? When faced with someone who's been broken and rebuilt themselves into something fiercer, something brighter, something absolutely terrifying in its refusal to apologize, do we trust them? Or do we try to cage them before they can burn us? Marin spent years believing she was too much, too powerful, too damaged, too dangerous to deserve love or safety or simple existence. And then she met someone who said, "You're not too much. You're exactly enough." Maybe we all need that. Someone who sees our fire and isn't afraid. Someone who witnesses our rage and our tenderness and says, "Yes, both, all of it, I choose all of you." This is the kind of story we tell here. Stories about women who refuse to be small. About men who know that strength means supporting, not controlling. About love that doesn't demand perfection, but celebrates the beautiful, terrible, magnificent reality of being human or wolf. If this story lit something inside you, if you felt Marin's pain and Kieran's devotion and the ache of choosing yourself when the world wants you diminished, then you belong here. At Shayla's Romance Library. Because here, we tell tales that burn. Stories that challenge and comfort and remind you that your fire isn't something to fear. It's something to claim. Subscribe. Join us. Let's burn together. Because the darkness is always waiting. But so is the light. And we get to choose which one we feed. What will you choose?